Oh, yes. My phone seems to be having a problem. It restarted itself. Yeah. I wanted to look at something that I thought was important about this whole wall. Yes. hmm Could you call the nation of Germany? Oh. And then, as I remember it, we used to have a West Germany and East Germany. Yes. Now, were they trying to get into West Germany, or was West Germany trying to get into East Germany? Yes. There was that Adolf Hitler Nazi Party there, 1933 to 1945. The Nuremberg. Oh, and then, oh my gosh, look at this. East Germany and West Germany reunified. They had a unification on October 3rd, 1990. Yes. Now, I just wanted to know exactly who paid to build the wall between those two nations. Pooch. Now, just so you understand, I think a satellite is a much more economical way to look at this. And if you want to escape from the United States, you should be free to do that. And Mexico can pick you up and deport you back. It does violate the rights of American citizens to violate the laws of the world. Yes. Now, World War II, United Kingdom, France responded invasion. Yes. Mass erase the Nazis ruthlessly murdered about 6 million Jews. Yes. And then I thought they murdered approximately 5.5 million Polish, yes, academics, yes, and any other person that opposed their cause. Yes, yes, yes. I happen to be Polish, and well, I'm black Polish. That's what it said on the death certificate of my grandfather, Edward. Yes. Could you get the death certificates of my immediate family for the last, 200 years? Once I'm able to sue you, I'm going to want to know exactly who was Edward Budnick. And then I had read that my great grandfather was a lawman in North Dakota or maybe Nebraska. Yes. His brother Joe had moved up from Chicago, had stabbed him. Yes. Shot him. Yes. Burned him up in his own house. I thought that I was cursed to the fourth generation, and being that last generation of the curse. Yeah. See, my own father was an alcoholic. He was a womanizer, and he had quite a few different relationships. And my grandfather married Clara Holst, yes, and Clara Budnick, yes. She'd been married to a Sinclair and adopted four little babies that were not her biological children, known as my aunts and uncles. And then there was Edward Ed Budnick, yes, and Clara had one son. His name was Paul Douglas Budnick, yes, a real rabble rouser. I got him about me. But I was sitting around drinking and getting stoned with my own father once when I was approximately 20 years old. Yes, he told me, yes, that my grandfather had crossed the desert, yes, when he was 16 years old, and he died in 1988, 3 months after I turned 18 years old. I was an adult then. Yes. Now that was 88 because I was born in 70. Yes. And 16 years old, 88 minus 82. Uh, well, let me see. He died at 88. I think that's when he died. I know he died in the year 1988. I don't know if he was 88 years old. He could have been 81 years old. But if I subtracted 80, I think he was approximately, it was 1900 and maybe 20 to 24. Do you know when the state of Arizona had incorporated? Because I thought he got that land down there in Yuma way back in the early 20s and said, I think there's going to be a water shortage approximately 100 years from now. A lot of the Budniks were very sight oriented. They could see population growth coming. And being one of those that happened to be black Polish, even though he was not black, he liked to have sex with Indians. And a lot of people thought that Indians were. Well, there's a local slang word for the Nigga of the African Americans. They attach a river to it, as in river. I've heard numerous individuals that are tribal that go with that whole slang saying of the river Naga. Now, as a Polish individual that has a big nose, I'm going to want the death certificates of my great great grandfather, Edward Budnick's actual father. Was he a real lawman there? I mean, was he one of these that carried a badge? Now, I feel like I'm a big individual, but when I look at other people, I say, no, I'm really not that big. But the thought of me just kicking your ass right now, poop, I'm so sorry. Now I know I'm going to want the death certificates to the fourth and quite possibly the fifth generation. Yes, Elmer and Verna Holmes, Pooch, who were their parents. And then there's my biological grandfather, Raymond Arthur Arp Pooch. He was supposedly Dutch, and he could have been involved in this whole Nazi movement that took place in the 30s and the 40s and the 1900s. Yeah. And then I thought that they had a big wall between West Germany and East Germany, and people try to keep sneaking in, sneaking out, sneaking in, sneaking out. And then there was another relative. Oh, Eunice Condit, my deceased grandmother, died in 2017, and I informed you that I thought there was some elder abuse. Do you know where she's buried at, or did they cremate her? Because I have not gotten any phone calls or emails from any relative for the last 5 years. Now I know Officer Johnson, my uncle, did send me an email that I will give you $100, and if you could turn it into 1,000, you can keep the 1,000. I thought, what a big fucking asshole. But he did mention, say hello to Officer Johnson for me, the same officer that said I want my civil rights enforced. See, I told the officer I want my civil rights enforced, and I want my sons, and the police department decided they'd completely ignore what the fuck he was saying. Now, let's see. We've been building walls throughout the world for the last, 5,000 years. Now, just so you know, okay, I think a satellite would be a lot easier to work with. Just taking a picture of a person. This whole idea of building a wall along the southern border of the United States didn't work that good with West and East Germany. A lot of persons got taken to prison on that one. Now, I know I'm not the president, okay, and this whole fraudulent misrepresentation, President Trump, yes, let's not misrepresent exactly the value of what the fuck you're talking about. I don't think you're going to be able to pay your buddies that $5 million and you shut down the government. I'll sue the federals right now. Why don't you just give me the death certificates of the last 5 generations of Budniks? Let's just go ahead and do that.